Subra, how can I retire early? I am very happy that this question was asked by a 21, 22-year-old. And then it becomes a little easier to say things like start early. If you are at 50 and you ask me that I have not saved much and I want to retire early, my advice would be go back to bed. You slept well, continue to sleep, because it's just too late to retire early. If at 50 you get up without much saving for retirement, you have 10 years in which to save. I mean, I'm not saying you can't retire, but the retiring early is an option which is not available to the 50-year-old who wakes up to the need for retirement. So first is start early. There is no doubt about that. And if you are young, if you're this 21, 22, make sure that you save 20% or 25% of your net income, depending on with whom you're staying. So if you're still staying with your parent, which is very likely if you're working in the same city where your father is working or where your parents are staying, then you will be able to save, because you don't have to pay rent, you don't have to pay for food, you may not even have to pay for entertainment. So if you're going to pay for if you're going to be having a subsidy for everything, the best thing you can do is completely invest what you're earning, apart from a small amount of personal expense. If you are staying in a different place, that's difficult. But yes, start early, save well. Very, very, very important. The most important investment at this age has got to be invest in yourself. See what you can do to earn more. I mean, if you can improve yourself, invest in yourself. Invest in learning some skills, maybe public speaking skills, maybe going and getting yourself a good MBA degree from a good college, which will catapult you into the higher earning place. Or if you graduated at a wrong time, if you graduated when the market was bad, then your salary would be bad. Then you may have to do some deep correction for yourself to increase to that level. So get that right. Next, get your asset allocation right. When you're young and you can take more risk, do take more risk. Start doing SIPs, start investing in direct equity, start learning. In fact, when you're so young, my first piece of advice would be, don't think of retirement. Think of growth. Think of joining some friend who has started off doing a startup. Either do a startup, which if you don't want to, it's perfectly all right. Join a friend who is in a startup. Invest your time, invest your effort, invest your money into that. Things can go wrong, of course, but if you are in a position where your parents are well off and you are staying with them, you are perhaps in the best position to take risk, and you've got yourself educated, you've got yourself a CA degree or an MBA degree, something good. You know that you can always find a job even if the startup fails. Go take risk, do all that. All that is also important. Retirement is good, but retirement is not so great if you are enjoying your work, right? If you are employed somewhere and you're enjoying your work, and I have many friends who are like that. They're working in a place where there is no stress for them. They're enjoying their work. They're 61, 62 years of age and perfectly all right. They're liking what they're doing. So if you're liking what you're doing, there is no need for you to retire and believe that retirement is great. I mean, of course, retirement is good if you don't want to work. If you want to work, so be it. Be my guest. There is nothing with... So save 20%, 30%, 90%, whatever you can, depending on your circumstances. Get your asset allocation right. Put more money in equity. If your parents never put money in equity, go out there and learn. You cannot escape investing in equity. If you do not invest in equity, I can guarantee that you cannot retire. Forget retire early. You just cannot retire. That is the kind of impact equity will have on your portfolio. So go and create your, you've created your savings, you've saved 20%, 30%, that has to get invested. Saving alone will not make you rich, right? Saving means your money is lying in the savings bank account, or maybe at best you put it into some sweeping account, so you're getting 5-6% interest, right? When we're making this in July 2022, 5-6% looks good, but that's not enough. For you to get better return, maybe 10, 12, 13% nominal return, you need to have equities in your portfolio. So get that right. It's very important also to live modestly. Don't I've just been seeing some tweets of people saying I need $2 million for retirement, $3 million for retirement. Of course you need that kind of money, but the only way how you can retire early is to live modestly. I don't think your money will ever be able to catch up with the with your requirements if your requirements are high. So simplicity, santushti, happiness has to come from within. It cannot come from your balance sheet, right? It just cannot come from your net worth. It has to come from your internal scorecard which says you have adequate money. Keep tracking your progress. This is very important in the initial stages to know whether the vehicle of retirement is going in the right direction. So do that. Try managing a part of your wealth. You may not be able to. You may have started investing in equities through a mutual fund SIP route. But having done that, see whether you want to do something on your own while managing equities. You can do what you can do. What is easier to do is to invest in large cap companies and invest in small cap and mid cap funds. The other way to look at it is to say, I will invest in those shares which the fund manager cannot invest. Fund manager cannot buy shares which are not very fluid, right? Not very liquid. So maybe he will never be able to buy a Bosch. He may not be able to buy a Procter and Gamble. He may not be able to buy an LMW. So you go and buy that. So both can work. For me, both works. I have some large cap shares and I have some shares which the fund manager can't buy. I have P&G, I have Bosch, I have LMW. So I have those shares in my portfolio, and my examples will obviously come from the portfolio which I hold, right? Optimizing taxes is very important. So instead of keeping money in a bank fixed deposit, keep money in an ultra short bond fund or a short term income fund, which you touch after 10, 12, 15, 20 years. Yeah, as long as you don't need the money, you don't touch it. That is just tactical allocation to debt in case there is an emergency. In case you don't have enough income, you can fall on that. But postponing the withdrawal by 30 years means you have really work very smartly in taxation. Save as much as possible into accounts which are not taxed. For example, PPF. Most of your debt requirements can be met by PPF, especially if you put 1.5 lakhs into your account, 1.5 lakhs into your spouse's account, 1.5 into 2 children's account, right? If you can put all that money, then you are well off in debt. Just take care of your debt requirements, or debt investment requirements can be taken care of by PPF alone. Only when you start investing more than 6 lakhs a year, or you have an HUF, so make it 7.5 lakhs a year, then you have to look at which debt fund, ultra short bond fund, short term income fund. I prefer the ultra short bond fund. I also have money in a drawdown gilt fund. So I do have, but largely I also have money in a credit risk fund. But largely, whenever I have to park money, it's an ultra short bond fund. Delay withdrawing your PPF by as much as possible. Keep extending by 5 years. The longer it stays, obviously, the more it earns, right? So some of these steps, if you do, you're going to create wealth for yourself. So will this help you retire early? Yes, of course. But I'm just saying you have a choice of whether to retire early. It does not mean you have to retire early. These steps will help you towards creating wealth or towards financial freedom. So then you have a choice of what work to do, how much to do, with whom to do, whether to do, right? You have a choice of all that. That does not mean you have to retire early. It means you have financial independence. You can decide whether to retire early. I mean, I took the decision to retire early. That was long back. I was not even 40. But that was my choice. It does not have to be your choice. Thank you.